He also had a minion that was a cultist. So it's been confirmed that Zerachi is like
a little yellow, like one-eyed.
Yeah.
One of those little minions.
Yeah.
Little yellow Kerbal just running around.
Yep. So apparently it's been confirmed that he is a cultist boss, and that he can have cultists as his little yellow one-eyed minions.
Dude, if you're running around at nighttime and you hear banana, you're run the other way. Run the other way, dude, because
Why was that so good? Oh my. What's up, everybody? Welcome to the podcast, the show dedicated to talking about all the progress things in life, like music, content creation, and video games. I'm one of your co-hosts, JesseKazam.
And I'm Veritas. And we all just wiped.
We just wiped.
I'm a big boy. I wiped.
I wiped by myself.
Proud, mommy.
Well, the wipe happened.
We
split. So yeah, the wipe happened, dude. Yeah. The like 48 hours leading up to the wipe happening, dude, was like, because I mean everything we talked about last week, where it was like people were like, oh, based on the position of the sun and how many characters are in Nikita's tweets and the drops of this day, like it has to be like the conspiracy theories, and it just like ramped up so hard, and even I was getting caught up in it because we knew drops were the 29th. And we were at like the 27th and nothing happened. And we were like, what's happening?
Yeah. And like sources close to me were basically saying like the patch ain't ready yet. Like people were like, it's really gonna be like in hours. And it was like, there's no patch yet. And it was like, yeah, it's going to be in hours.
Yeah. It got crazy. And then like, I like went to bed Tuesday night, and one of my really good friends who's also a mod, he mods for the channel and he works nights. So he was like, I was like, call me. Like, I'll leave my phone on ring. Call me if they announce anything. I had just fallen asleep and he called me and he was like, hey, they tweeted it's going down. So it was like the middle of the night, they tweet it's going down. And I was like, okay. I was like, call me when the patch notes get released. Because I was thinking about making a video. I had just fallen asleep because it was only like an hour later, and he calls me. He was like, hey, there's just released patch notes. So I didn't get like any sleep at all that night at all. And then we went live. They pushed they said it was going to be down for 6 hours. They pushed it an additional 2 hours, which was actually pretty. I thought it was going to be down for like 8 to 12 hours. Like I thought it was going to be down for a long time. And then it came up, and yeah, I don't know. Then we wiped.
I had an appointment actually at the audiologist to get ear impressions for the in-ear monitors.
Yes.
Yeah, and oh god, I just realized I had Go-Gurt in my pocket this whole time.
But how long is this whole time? Since like yesterday, or like just before you came down?
For the 90 minutes. Is it still good? You think the Go-Gurt's still good?
Yeah, dude, it's best served warm.
We're getting dirty today. Yeah, I had an appointment in the morning, and I was like going to bed, and the appointment was like in like 6 hours. And then right before I went to bed, I went to go check something, and I saw somebody tweet out like the wipe is happening, and it's like it'll be down for 6 or something hours. I'm like, pretty good timing. And then I got up and went to the appointment, and when I looked at the appointment, because I figured I was going to be home in a couple hours after like the initial leaving for the appointment, it was like it's been delayed a couple hours. So I'm like sitting in like the waiting room, looking at all of the streamers just staring at nothing, like staring at a launcher or whatever. I'm like, perfect. And about literally I got home, and it was like I pulled up the first stream I saw. It was Pestily, and it was like he was clicking through the character creation. I'm like, perfect fucking timing,
oh my
dude.
god, bro.
Yeah, so I just like booted up the stream, and yeah, it was pretty good.
That's crazy. Yeah, I don't know about you. I mean, obviously a big thing, everyone's like, oh, the queues are going to be insane, nobody's going to be able to get into raid. The game went up. We had about 90 minutes of like literally uninterrupted, no like crashes, no nothing. And then the servers just went down. Like, I don't know if it was just East Coast or the server cluster we were on. And then for about 90 minutes, we just like sat staring, waiting for it to come up. And then it came back up. And then since then, we haven't had any issues. Now, there are issues and there are bugs and there are frame issues and stuff like that. But we haven't had like 40-minute PMC queues. We haven't had to get in a queue in the launcher like that happened a few wipes ago, and we haven't had any like crazy crashes. So for how big of a patch it was in that sense, it went relatively smooth considering how some patches have gone in the past. That's not to say there are no bugs.
Yeah, so I mean, I don't even know where we jump in. There's so much to talk
Yeah,
about, dude.
we'll start with like I'll pull up the patch notes and we'll go cluster by cluster because they're grouped together. So like the first thing is streets. So have you played streets and what are your thoughts?
Yeah, played a bunch of streets.
Have you played online PMC raids?
Dude, do people play offline raids?
The very first thing I did was go offline because I was like, I know that I can get it in 1 minute. No. You know what I mean?
Literally, the first thing I did was immersion raid. Gear up my PMC and just go right into streets.
Which makes sense. Yeah,
I ended up killing like 6 PMCs and like 7 scavs. It was like pretty epic.
Really?
Then I got swamped with a 3-man of player scavs.
Yeah.
And I was in like a bad spot. And I had looted a bunch of stuff.
So you're heavy.
Which basically meant I couldn't move, couldn't run, couldn't jump. And I was stuck between like an area where there was like a one of those highway barriers and then like one of the little like telephone boxes.
Yep.
And then like I just couldn't move. I couldn't, and all I had was the RPK with the 30 round mags, which is like you spray a little bit, to suppress one guy. And then you got a quick reload, drop the mag, people are running, and I'm trying to run and jump, and I'm just completely stuck. Yeah. So
it's crazy. A new map always brings, especially if you go early. So it's like, what can I jump over with level 1 strength? You know what I mean? Because I know I'll be able to jump over this at level 20 strength, but can I jump over it at level 1 strength? Can I jump over it while heavy at level 1 strength? And then all the little things, like there's a bunch of things on Lighthouse because I've scavved it so much where like there's a chair falling over here and then there's a small gap and then there's like a wall here and any human being would be able to just shuffle their feet right through. But like you find out that like, you're trying to run through and you're caught on it. So there's like so many of those places where it's like, where can I not move through? What can I not jump over? And when you don't know those things and you're in a firefight, you're just like, I'll just lay down and die, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do.
Yeah. Like the solution in a lot of those cases, right, is to drop your bag. Just the problem is it's so loud. I hate how loud it is.
Yeah.
I hate that they added that it's so loud.
Yeah.
Because in so many situations, if I like hear footsteps, coming in, the only chance I have is to ambush like one.
Yep.
And then quickly rotate around, just like hold an angle, shoot one, and that's when they start panicking, like, oh, I'm dead, oh my god, and then like run around to a safer spot.
Yeah.
And but like by the time I hear footsteps, if I have to like drop my stuff,
that is so true. As a solo, if a squad, like I've made videos about this, as a solo, if you're fighting a squad, the most important thing is to kill someone before they even know you're there. Like, because you have to like change the odds quickly unless you're going to run away. And if as a squad, that means you have to be completely silent until you get that opportunity to do so. But exactly, ditching your bag, that's going to announce to people that you're there, and then you lose that opportunity. It'd be cool if the volume of the sound was determined by the weight of the backpack and what's in it. And then secondarily, if I hold Z, I can put it down slowly. Yep.
Yeah.
It's like a 3 full second animation. So like if you have an empty backpack, you can just like quickly and it's not going to make a lot of noise. But if you have a full backpack and you have the time, you hold Z and even if it's not an animation, I don't care. He puts it down gently.
But here's the stupid way like around it. So I booted up my stream today and I did one immersion raid. I finally took the AUG out.
Oh yeah.
I'm like, I wanted to know at least like 2 extractions on streets before I took any decent gear there, just because it's like, so, and I ended up killing, I think I only got 1 PMC, but I just spent most of the time cinematically walking around, looting, looking at all the different areas.
Yeah.
And then there was one. It was actually like a really clean, super clean fight. There was some audio stuff that we can talk about when we get into that discussion. But it was just like a clean, I was voice lining back and forth. And so was he. He was like in Russian with the bear and I was English with the bear.
Oh, that's funny.
Just screaming back and forth. And he ran up, quick peeked the doorway. I was already holding it. And I just went, one tapped him in the head. He was dead. Went and looted him. He was at level 22 with a pilgrim. Full of juice, like 2
What?
car batteries, just full of crafting stuff. So once I killed him, I dropped my armor and my helmet, picked up his armor and helmet, and the pilgrim, and he had is it the mechanic's bag?
Yeah, though it's like
Inside
a
of
big
it.
and then 2, yeah.
So here's the way around the backpack thing is you just have a backpack inside of a backpack.
Yep.
You just open it up, you hit, your discard key, and it drops it instantly with no sound.
Yep. There's also ways around it. Like if you're taking a painkiller, right? If you're in the middle of an ibuprofen animation, I know that makes noise too, but you can hover over your bag and hit delete, and it just ditches it, and it doesn't make any noise.
Yeah. So I mean, there's a couple ways to like get around it, but I mean, dude, you should have seen. I mean, I don't even know what my weight was. Someone in chat might remember, but like literally, I was 2 bars out of, like the full movement speed bar, and I was just inching from some random place I've never been in the map, and I just luckily got pretty lucky and walked out to one particular place after like 10 minutes of just wandering, and I was like, chat, where the fuck is courtyard in relation to this, because I don't have a compass yet. And I'm still finding places on streets I've never seen before,
100%,
even though I've done like more than a dozen raids there. But yeah, I mean, overall, like Streets as a map, it's sick. The atmosphere is sick. Like everything, nothing bad to say about this map standalone, like the design of the map. I mean, I have gotten maybe max 70 frames, although it tends to be around 50, sometimes goes down to 20 or less.
I'm sitting in the like 30 to 50 frames average. Maybe I've peaked up to 70, but every time I look, it's 30 to 50.
Yeah, and I'm
30,
stuck
90.
in that weird area where like it I don't know how to describe it. I don't know if it's like VSync or my monitor refresh rate working with Tarkov. I've been trying to toggle a million things on and off. It just looks like there's a strobe light effect, but it's like not visible. It's almost subconscious. It gives me a headache, dude.
Yeah, I it's been interesting. So I completely agree. Like the butterflies, like when I first spawned in, that's why I went in offline and I was pegged at 140 frames, and like everyone was like, oh, and I was like, listen, this is offline. Like, but I just wanted to walk around. I just want to see it and feel it. And the atmosphere is so good, dude. There's so many different behind this building. There's like industrial, like construction equipment, and then you go over here and it's like a little mini Goshen supermarket, and then there's the cinema, and like all these high rises, every one of the first floor, the restaurants, there's back alleys. Like it's truly a really, really cool map. The scale of it really is throwing people off. I've had so many people come in and be like, is this smaller than Reserve, or is this smaller than, and it's like, it's
just not open
because it's a square. It doesn't, you know what I mean? And because like it's a big map, like it's big. There's a lot to it. There's so many alleys. There's so many random rooms. And then like, it really does. So I'm a little torn there. Like I was in a building and I like went up a random set like of floors. Like you could go up 5 different floors in this building. I went up to like the 3rd floor and then went in, and then you open a door and you can go left or right down the hallway. I went left down the hallway, and then I was looking at, and then one of the doors I opened, and in that door was a PMC, and I was a scav, and he shot me. And I was like, this is kind of what I dreamed up when I thought of Streets. Like, there's an infinite amount of doors. There's an infinite amount of windows. There's an infinite amount of hallways. Like, you have to just always be on guard, because, you know what I mean? And because, of course, we don't know, like, the flow of the map and the spawn flows and stuff like that. But it really does give that vibe. On the flip side, there have been multiple times where I've been like, oh, you can't go in here? Or like...
That's my major criticism.
Or you go into a building and you're like, oh, and you see the stairs and you go up one single flight of stairs and then it's blocked off. And you're like, I can't go higher? You know what I mean? Like, that has been a little frustrating.
Yeah, I mean... It's like when you have this massive open world in Skyrim and you go to like walk towards a mountain and you just like hit an invisible wall, you know, that kind of thing where it's like, oh, come on, I want to go up there.
Yeah.
But the biggest thing for me, the most annoying thing, that this is my one criticism of the design of the map, is that like 60% of the doors are not interactable.
Yeah.
And there's no visual. You'll have two identical models of doors.
Yeah.
And one, you just have to walk up and stick your face on the door, the handle of the door constantly. You just walk up to a door and say, is this one? Nope. Is this one? Yes, but it's locked. Is this one?
And
nope.
That's what's weird is some of them will say open, some of them will say breach, and some of them will say nothing. And the difference between a breachable door and a nothing door is nothing. Like there are so many doors in Tarkov that say breach that don't have keys. Like you just can't breach those doors. So why do some say breach and some say nothing? Are the breach ones locked or like, so it's like, that is interesting. And so like, now I say that I understand, right? Like I understand that especially with how optimized the map is, not every door can be openable, not every floor. But
just make it unique with a broken door handle model.
But make the model unique so that you know what doors are interactable and what aren't. And two, it's impossible for them to have hyped this map up for 5-6 years. And for me not to, like, when I go into a building, I just want to be able to go to the top of the building. And if I see a sofa blocking the staircase, a little part of me is going to be like, oh, you know what I mean? Like, and that doesn't mean I think the map sucks. I just think that, like, you can see the roadmap, right? Like there's one building like in the middle of the map that looks sick. It's like got glass and it's all dilapidated and you can't get access to it at all. And like I'm like, you know, Streets Part 2 or 3 or 4 or 5. Like we're gonna be able to go in there. You can tell, you know what I mean? And like the huge movie theater cinema, it's such a landmark on the map, and you can't get inside. And you're like, I don't
care about any of the parts of the map that are closed that are going to be open in the future. Like that doesn't bother me.
Yeah.
But there's no way that all of the doors that look like you can interact with, like those. I promise you, mark my words, 2 years from now or whatever, most of those doors are still going to just be JPEGs. And I just, it's super fucking annoying when you're exploring. It ruins your immersion when you're like, let me go open up this door. And then half the time it doesn't show because you're not looking at the right pixel up next to the doorknob. And then, so it's immersion breaking.
Yeah, I feel you.
And I doubt they'll do anything about it.
No,
honestly,
it'll just be like, Nikita will just be like, learn the map. You know what I mean? Like learn which doors you can open, you know? But overall, man, it's such a beautiful map. It's got such good aesthetics. Like some of the, like, playing a shooter, being out. So like there's certain places where it's like a building and then a sidewalk and then a 3-lane highway and then a median and then a 3-lane highway and then a sidewalk and then the other building. And there's tension in just being in the middle of the road. Like there's no place in Tarkov where you can be that far away from cover, where you're just like, I am out in the open. Like crossing this road is insane. So like it's got some really cool vibes. There's certain places where you can see the rogue boss, like Big Pipe in them, their logo, their Skull and Crossbones logo. So I'm like wondering if you'll be able to see them eventually in like certain places, or if there are other rogue bosses that will be there. I don't know if you saw the clip going around on Twitter. Killa can spawn on Streets, and I've seen clips of player scavs getting killed by Killa.
No, I haven't seen that.
Yeah, I don't know what the spawn chance is. I don't know what we've heard in the past that that will be able to happen, and that like all the bosses will have a chance to spawn on Streets. We've heard in the past that you might be able to find a meeting between multiple of the bosses. I don't imagine that is in the game yet, but it really did surprise me to see a clip of Killa just waxing some player scavs. I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I got my first. It might have been my first scav run on Streets. I got killed by the sniper scav. I was just exploring, and it's like there's no fucking indication. If there is one, it wasn't obvious enough for me who was paying attention. I just was walking, and all of a sudden you hear pop, pop, and I'm like, is someone shooting at me? Because you hear a distant shot, but there's no bullets coming by. There's no whizzing, and all of a sudden it's like, bang, my leg's broken, bang, I'm dead, and then you just see that you died, and it doesn't say the name or anything. Yeah, it just says like almost So it's like, really? Come on.
That's the green flare extract, which is pretty cool. Like I saw a clip of Axel. He had found a green flare, so he took it to Streets and he shot it off. That one where you just like walk out into the street and you die. If you shoot the green flare off, you wait a few seconds, and he just like super cautiously walked out in the middle of the street, and he kept walking, and he started extracting, and he extracted. I don't know how much time you have, but that's how you extract from that place, or at least I don't know where you are. One of the places.
Can anybody use that, or is it just the
that's
person that
a good
shot
question.
the flare?
I don't know if it counts for your squad. I haven't seen enough clips yet because I haven't seen a green flare or anything. But
Interesting. Okay.
But yeah, so that's interesting. The extracts are pretty interesting. I found a few. I found one in my first offline thing, and basically right now I know most of them based on the landmarks. Obviously, it's all
I only know
extracts.
Courtyard and the one
Yeah.
where there's the like crane. It's not collapsed crane, but it's the one where you go up into like the dilapidated building.
Yes,
where
that's ruined house or yeah. And those are on complete opposite sides of the cinema. One side courtyard, one side. Okay, so the crane one is in front of Concordia, which is the L-shaped hotel that we saw all the trailers in. Right in front of that is the big building that's under construction. It doesn't even have walls yet. It's just like 18 levels of construction. And in the front of that, there is a giant collapsed crane, and you can just walk up to that and extract there. But dude, it's good, man. The map is big. The map is sick. It is, of course, a little depressing just to see the performance. You know what I mean? Like, every map has performed poorly. They have pushed this back so many times. And then even a year ago, they started changing that. Well, it's not going to be all the streets. It's going to be parts of streets. And then it was going to be by fall of this year. And then they pushed it again for optimization's sake. So I think there was a little bit of hope. Maybe I'm not fully cynical enough yet, but there was a little bit of hope that it's like, maybe we'll at least get like 60 frames or something like that. And it's brutal, man. A lot of people saying like, I just can't play it on my hardware. Even with my beefy hardware, I can only get like 30 frames. Every single time I scav in, I haven't played an online PMC raid yet, because every single time I scav in, every single time I am constantly with like 8 bajillion% packet loss. I've rewound in time like 45 seconds before.
That happened to me. It's actually like a video I
not
uploaded
a few
today.
seconds, like almost a minute.
Yeah, there was a period of time where I was like walking and teleported back, and then walked, and then teleported back, and then walked, and teleported back, and then walked. Finally made it past that point.
Yep.
Looked at a van, went into a building, went up the stairs. I was all the way back to when I was like, what?
I've tried to loot some containers and they won't work. And I'm like, we're in a bugged lobby. And I'm like running down a highway on streets. And all of a sudden my character stops, my inventory opens, and I'm looting a duffel bag. I haven't teleported back to the duffel bag, but I'm looting it in the middle of the street.
Yeah.
So
now, see, today I didn't have any packet loss on streets. When I did my one raid. I did one raid today.
So
I haven't
risking my stuff yet until we freaking.
I haven't done any scav. Well, I did like 2.
Yeah.
But because every time I go to do a scav raid, I usually wait about 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Don't get into any lobbies, and then either I go back or it just kicks me out. Right, like the screen just goes black and you're back at the main menu. So it's been super, super annoying.
You want me to fix that for you?
Well, so one thing that it was one of those like rumors going around that I ended up trying was remove auto server selection.
Oh.
And I chose only like central and northeast.
Yeah.
And then the next scav raid I got in like 3 or 4 minutes or something.
Yeah. The other way is I thought this might work. I asked my whole chat to try it, and I had like 100 people be like, "You just saved my life. What the hell? How did you know that?" And I was like, "I don't know. I just saw this somewhere." Go to the scav, go to the lobby, invite literally anybody in the lobby to your party, and as soon as it forms the party and your name turns blue, don't even give them a chance to respond. Just click next, load in. For some reason, it's prioritizing parties. And you can't create a party unless you've invited somebody. And as soon as you invite somebody, you've created a party, whether people are in it or not. And I was like, try that, chat. And like 100 people came back, and they're like, I got into streets in 4 minutes.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't know how long it's going to work. I don't know if they're going to change it up. But as of yesterday, every time I told people to do that, they were like, holy cow. So they're getting in
there's
solo.
Something wrong.
Yeah. Just.
I was trying to, dude, I couldn't get into factory. I couldn't get into any map. It wasn't streets.
Yeah, that's
I was
same
trying
with other
to do
people.
just factory.
People were like, I'm in 35-minute queue for an interchange scav, and I'm like, try this, and they're like, yep. So yeah, I don't know. So streets is great, but obviously, I'm excited for performance changes. Before, I guess we'll talk about this now because it's related to performance. Let's talk about the audio. The new audio engine, which they even worded it a little interesting with like saying things like so Steam Audio has been completely removed and replaced with Oculus Audio. People are tripping up with this.
People are still blaming Steam Audio though for issues, which is great
because they don't think binaural audio. They think it's Steam Audio. Yeah. So Oculus Audio is the sound engine for the game right now, chat. It's not old Tarkov audio. It's not Steam Audio. It is Oculus Audio. The final adjustments of positioning people are tripped up by this. The final adjustment of the positioning is available on factory customs, woods, and streets. Other locations will have the quality of sound positioning gradually improved. A lot of people think that means all the other maps except those have the old engine and these have the new engine. And that's not how that works. It's all on Oculus Audio. I'm assuming that means that they went
whether you have binaural checked or not.
Yes, whether you have binaural checked or not. I'm assuming that means on those maps, they've gone in and maybe hand moved some of those occlusion zones or done some refining off of what surfaces or whatever. They've done some hand work on those maps, and on the other maps
they haven't.
Yeah, I understand. But I'm just saying that's what I think they mean here. Do you know what I mean? So many people are like, yeah, I'm playing Lighthouse and it has the old audio engine. And I'm like, no, it doesn't. This is all the new audio engine. That's not how this works. It's just that they're not all there. So there's a lot of things. There's the new audio engine and what you think about it, the good, the bad, the ugly. And then there's I'm still calling it a rumor, even though my personal experience with this has been that it's true, that if you turn off binaural audio, you get, it's really impacting frames.
Yeah, so there's a couple things there. I'm not saying that rumor is false, because it's entirely possible that it's not. But the problem is that everybody doing the quote unquote testing, here's the problem. We all know, and if you don't now, you do. Tarkov just has massive memory leak issues. So here's the thing:
humongous.
What people will do is they'll play, and if they have binaural on, they'll play for 2 or 3 hours, amass a massive memory leak.
Yes.
Like my first raid, I got 60 frames on streets, and then a few hours later, I was getting 20. But then what they'll do is they'll hear the rumor that it's binaural causing the issue. They'll uncheck it, and then they restart the game, which gets rid of the memory leak. So it's entirely possible that just rebooting the game is it's the memory leak that is making the performance better. Again, I'm not saying it's not binaural.
No,
I'm just saying
I've been saying that as well, because because whatever memory leak the game has had in the past, it's worse right now. It's really, really bad. The memory leak is crazy right now. So I've been saying that too, where it's like, I don't know. I did some, I turned it off and I felt like I had more, but yeah, it's hard to tell how much of it's memory leak, how much of it, because it makes sense that binaural may consume even just a little bit more CPU resources could, since it's so CPU bound, but I completely agree. That's a thing that's going around. I don't know how much testing has been done other than I heard it. I anecdotally was like, well, I had just restarted the game like the raid before to get the memory leak. And I was like, well, I guess now's a good time to try to turn off binaural. And I felt like I got more frames on customs because I've been playing mostly customs because I've been questing mostly. But I have not been really quoting it as objective fact. I've been like, everybody asked the question and I'm just like, try it for yourself, man. You know what I mean? Like, you do you. But I will say, because I have played several hours with binaural off, that I don't like, well, however you feel about the audio engine, it still sounds worse with binaural off. You know what I mean? So,
you think so?
I do. I played with 8 hours with binaural on, and then I turned it off, and immediately I felt like I was like panicking at every single sound. Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. To me, it's
anecdotal evidence once again.
To me, and I haven't done any side-by-side testing, but I had it on because it was just on, like left on from last time, and it was the audio, for a bunch of reasons that we'll get into, I just thought was complete and utter dog shit.
Yeah.
On streets to start, and then on factory, it's the worst factory's ever been. It's worse than before. Like literally, it's atrociously bad.
Yeah.
And I don't know what to tell anybody that disagrees. Maybe your experience is completely different than mine.
Yeah.
Maybe they have less experience than me on factory, and maybe not. Maybe I'm just wrong, right? But I mean, I've done fucking like 50,000 goddamn raids on Factory in every single possible audio setting. You know, and I did months of testing with the audio video. I know how Factory sounds.
Yeah.
Factory's completely fucking confusing.
Yeah.
And now it's only really in the stairwells and the office area, because the occlusion zones before, it was one floor, first floor, second floor, third floor, and then the stairwells.
Yeah.
It was like there were the 5 boxes.
Yeah.
Now it's like 17 overlapping octagons.
Yeah.
Where if you're in the office and you're sitting there and you're just like, if you're looting the filing cabinets in the office, you'll hear somebody sounds like they're right next to you, then they're muffled, then they're right next to you, then they're muffled. As they're like going up the stairs, it's like inside of your occlusion zone, out, inside, out, inside. It's complete and utter garbage. So they fucked up the occlusion zones completely. Now, I didn't notice any issues on Woods whatsoever because it's just one giant open area. So it's like, that's fine. Didn't have any problem on Woods. Streets is probably the worst of all of them I've experienced, because the even just my last raid, it's, how do I describe it? There's so many buildings where you might be in like one side of a building where you can get into like the lobby and adjacent room and like go up a stairs and like there's a room up top, right?
Yeah.
But then there's like another part of the building connected to the building that's inaccessible from inside.
Yes.
You'd have to go out and around, but they sound like they are right next to you, whether you have binaural on or off.
Yeah.
The distance is completely fucked.
Yeah.
The distance is I can hear people all the way across a street sound like they're right next to me. Some gunfire that's across the map sounds like it's in a building right next to me. Like on Customs, I could hear like Fortress.
Yeah.
Super clearly from like boilers.
There's like some sort of bug going on with interiors, because on Woods, I've seen clips of people like by Scav House on Woods. And you know how where Sniper Scav is, where it used to be like, Sniper Scav was up there and they made that accessible. And up by Sniper Scav, there's that like bunker where you can like go down and there's like treasure spawns in there. I've seen people like at outskirts and they can like hear people in that bunker. There's like a few interiors that are like crazy bugged and like you can hear from anywhere on the map. Now, I haven't experienced that where I've heard like or at least that I could pinpoint that I've heard somebody's from like crazy far away, but I've seen plenty of clips. Like it's very much so happening. Yeah, it's hard, man. There are certain, like, I'll still say, like, there are certain places where the audio feels really good. There are, like, certain places where I feel like standing at the top of 3-story dorms and having somebody run up. Like, there are certain times where, like, that does sound good. Like, I can actually hear them go from, like, really muffled to slightly less muffled to slightly less muffled to, like, up. There are certain places, there are certain... whatever it's called, where like the sound is now taking into account the material that it's around or whatever. I don't know what that's called, but like hearing a grenade explode in a building that I'm 200 meters from sounds so good. The muffle of shots, the crispy cackle of like shots in the distance when you're on streets. Some of these things sound really, really good. But I will definitely agree that like when it comes down to like I'm in a building with somebody, I have no idea where they are. You know what I mean? Like I like vertical, up, below, left, right, forward, back, what material they're on. And we've been playing 3s. It's like me, Seal, and Velian, and it's like everybody shut up and stop moving, because like it just becomes this jumbled mess. So it's definitely been. Yeah, I mean, I'll try to defend what I can of it, but it's definitely a little brutal.
Yeah, a good example of the weirdness, because there's 2 things. I'll point out this example, and then I'll talk about some of like the distance sounds.
Yeah.
Was so the fight I got in today on Streets. It was a building where it was like, imagine like a 3-story open brick, like there's nothing above you except there's some scaffolding staircases that like go up the sides, and then there's like a platform that you can walk across. I don't know.
Yeah.
It was, I don't know how to describe this part of the map. But the person was across the way in the other building straight ahead from me, like 3 stories up.
Mm-hmm.
It sounded like they were 2 feet in front of me walking. I was like, immersion run, like
For sure.
like looking around,
Yeah.
and I had to go all the way up, and then when I got up like 4 or 5 stairs in this big open room, all of a sudden then their sound was muffled.
Yeah.
And then I got to like the top stairs, and then it was wide, like perfectly open again. It was so there's see, and I've experienced weird shit like that on a bunch of other maps too. So all I can say is that I'm actually like extremely worried.
Yeah.
Because before, the occlusion zone issues were limited to like 5 specific places on every map.
Yeah.
It was like the staircases in dorms, this part of, this part of interchange. It was very select.
Yeah.
Now it's like streets. There's probably 1,000 problematic areas.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're ever going to solve all of those.
Yeah.
So that just kind of scares me. The binaural, I don't know. Like, when I've been playing with it off for like most of the time, and I don't have any issues with left or right. Sometimes there's some ambiguity front and back.
Yeah.
But I don't think having it on didn't make that any better, like Steam Audio's binaural did.
Yeah.
With Steam Audio's binaural, I could very often tell the difference between straight in front, straight in back, or above and below. Now, I can't, whether binaural's on or off. Sometimes I can, and it's really bizarre. It's just super hit or miss.
Yeah.
I'm going to be doing a lot of testing, and I'm going to go offline with some people and do the whole front back, and I'm going to do a blind test. I want to do a video where I do like that blind test that I did for like 4 or 5 streamers, but I want to do that, release it to the public with like a Google Doc where they can fill out their answers as they go along.
That would be sick.
Then be like, oh yeah, the community is 85% wrong. All the, you know what I mean? Like,
yeah, that'd be good.
Try to reproduce some of the same things from the previous video so that I can actually compare the sound from before and after, to see what's changed, how it sounds different. I have a few ideas, but the only other thing that really fucking bothers me, and it's to me, it's far more annoying than the issue that people have, that we have with Steam Audio, where you'd hear like the far away sound and then it would cut out, like that blip of like a scab yelling or like a grenade pin. Now, when I hear those distant shots all the way across the map, I'd say maybe 70% of the time, you hear like an echo in the opposite like wall. But it's like a really boomy. The way I can describe it is, it sounds like, imagine I took one of those metal, like a big metal pan, like a pasta pan, put it over your head, and I just hit the pan with a metal spoon. It's just like from like, and it's the reverb. So I'll hear like the shot, and the initial shot muffled sounds great, and then like the reverb is this terrible. I experienced that actually when I was setting up Steam Audio in my little Unity project when I was doing the video, and I had no idea what I was doing. I would get weird fucking artifacts like that, and that's exactly what's happening now.
Interesting.
So I don't know. Yeah. It's really fucking annoying, and I'm sure people are going to be like, I don't know what you're talking about. Yeah. I mean, I've got 100 fucking clips and can show you.
No, for sure. I mean, there are absolutely people, and it depends. Yeah. I agree. There are certain instances where I'm like, oh my God, that sounds so good. Most of the time that I'm in a fight with somebody or I'm trying to communicate to my teammate where people are, it's not good. And then, so there's like that. And then on top of that is the bugs where like the hearing audio from a certain interior all the way across the map. Or I don't know if you've experienced where like I've had bush audio not play for me, but it's client side. It'll play for other people. Like when
I've had no bush audio or looting sounds.
No looting sounds. Sometimes I have looting sounds.
Great.
Yeah, sometimes I have looting sounds, sometimes I don't. We were scavving reserve, and I hit the button, and there was no wee woo, but there was for some other people. And then I spawned into a scav raid late. I had to Alt F4 and reconnect, and Velian and Seal were in the scav raid. I was loading it with them. My game crashed. I had to reconnect. Seal called in an airdrop, and for both of them, the plane was making no noise, but for the plane was making noise for me. So like there's like bugs, there's core issues, and then there's like pretty cool sounding stuff too. I don't know. It's bad. My copium is what I messaged you yesterday, which is like we had Steam Audio in its exact state for like 2.5 years. I'm with like basically no progress forward or backwards. My hope is just that with this audio engine, they can constantly be working on it and making it better. I have no idea what I'm talking about. I made that up. and I don't know how game development is or how audio engine is. But I'm just hoping that whatever I Google Oculus Audio, I was reading about it a little bit. It's like a Unity thing. So I just hope that they can iterate on it much more quickly than Steam Audio and the old audio engine. But I'm making that up. I have no idea. That's how I'm holding on to hope in my heart that it gets better.
My summary is that I think that in many, many ways, the new audio system has lots of problems and sometimes is complete dog shit.
Yeah.
And is a step in the wrong direction. But 3 days after the wipe, all I can say is give them some time.
Yeah. Yeah.
The problem is,
yeah.
I hope that this clip isn't played 2 years from now in a video where I'm going to say, let's give them some time. And then 2 years goes by and they change nothing.
Yeah.
Like what happened with Steam Audio, they went to implement it.
Yeah.
They implemented it poorly and then never finished.
Yeah.
And then never fixed any of the issues and then just threw all the work away and then started with this new thing. Let's just hope that.
Exactly.
And
Let's
the
just
problem
hope
is,
that's not the case.
All the people that are saying everything's fine for me, I genuinely am worried that things like this have happened in the past where Nikita's going to say, oh, everybody complaining, they just need to get used to it.
Yeah.
And it's like and again, I have no information other than my past experience with this stuff, which I think has some value, is that I think the people that say there's nothing wrong with the audio, I actually don't think, even though it's possible, that they have a different experience. I think their experiences are the same. They just don't fucking know how to tell when things are wrong.
Yeah.
That's just my gut.
Yeah.
And again, I could be wrong. Time will tell, but I just have a really hard time thinking that the audio is fine for some people and that the only thing that we need to do is get used to it. Like, I know what it's like to play a game and have different audio changes and having to get used to something.
Yeah.
And how that's different
for sure
than you're hearing things like invisible sounds that aren't invisible.
Yeah.
The person's there. They're just 30 feet further than they should.
Yeah.
That's not something you get used to. That's like objectively
exactly. There's a difference between playing Hunt Showdown and being like, what was that? What was that? Because I don't know what that sound is. And just the objective binary, there are no bush sounds for me. That's broken. Right? You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, this is it not working as intended, obviously. You know what I mean? So
yeah, and there's tons of weird things too that I guarantee that in some of the buildings and streets, if you walk towards like an open window, you can be like 70% of the way from like the door to the room to the hallway, and all of a sudden you hear outdoor sounds, and it's like,
yes,
it's just you lean a little bit and it's indoors, lean a little bit forward, outdoors. Before that would happen on the threshold of a door, and it was kind of a little bit clunky and annoying. Now it's like it's the same problem, except it's worse.
Yeah, because
now all these occlusion zones are completely clunkily placed, and now there's 800 million
occlusion
places
zones
where they're broken, and so it's, I don't know, like.
So yeah, I mean, like,
give them some time. We'll give them some time,
absolutely,
by all means. But I can't not say, because I get asked every 4 seconds.
No,
every
for sure.
4 seconds, someone comes in a chat and says, "I'm sure you've been asked a million times.
Yep.
But what's your thoughts on the audio?"
No.
And I can't basically not just summarize it by saying, "I think it's dog shit. We'll see what happens."
No,
that's all I can say over and over.
I completely agree. I get that. It's the most asked question I've had is, "What do you think of the new audio?" And it's like, it's just.
No, you have to give a nuanced, honest answer.
It's really rough. I hope they make it better. I don't know what else you want me to say. If it's terrible and it continues to be terrible, I'm not going to let it ruin my life. I'm going to continue to be fun playing this game, but I'm going to tell you that it's pretty bad. It's in rough shape. But my hope is that they'll fix it. So it's like, it's been 70 hours. It's rough. Let's hope they make it better. So okay. So we got that out of the way. We can blaze through some of this. So they did add the enchantment table. People are getting so mad that I keep calling it that, but I can't stop now. It's burned into my brain. They added the enchantment table. Some interesting things to it. Nobody's really done anything yet, because you have to have armor repair kits or weapon repair kits in order to proc these like features or whatever. And how good they are is determined by the 2 new skills in the game. So we haven't really experienced anything. But in the patch notes, some interesting stuff where rare enhancements can only be applied at the elite level of the corresponding skill. So there's two different types of enhancements. They're normal and rare ones. The rare ones, you can't even start getting rare ones on your stuff until you have the elite, either light or heavy armor. The normal ones you can get at any time. The chance and strength of a normal standard enhancement depends on the level of the corresponding skill. For body armor and plate carriers, the enhancements reduce damage a character receives. Weapons can have two types of enhancements. It can either decrease malfunction chance or increase accuracy. The enhancement is effective within a certain range of the item's technical condition, which means if that armor gets zeroed, it loses that thing and will be removed in the case of another repair. So if you repair something, it enhances it, and you repair it again, it removes it, I think. The enhancement changes the value of the item, the selling price to the insurance and the flea market fee. The intelligence skill now affects the amount of repair points that will be spent on repairs, which I actually like. And the max durability. Okay, yeah. So the intelligence skill will determine how, so let's say you have an armor repair kit. The intelligence skill will determine how many points of that armor repair kit will be spent on a repair. And the light armor or heavy armor skill, depending on how they are, will determine. So like a light armor can be repaired better the higher you are in that skill. Mm-hmm. So there's like a lot more complexity around the thing. They added the new light and heavy armor skills, which is interesting. So it's just not something anybody's really seen yet because nobody's had the high enough level to really do it. So yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that. It's just like, we'll just like see.
I haven't gotten close to even repairing a gun.
Yeah.
Or having anything to repair, and I'm like level 13.
Yeah. No, I feel you. They reworked the charisma skill, which I like. The charisma skill now affects the price of insurance, how much extracts are, the paid extracts, and how much it costs to replace an operational task, the scav box, and the healing service. So charisma feels much more like a charisma skill now. The higher your charisma, the better prices. Very Fallout, the better prices you get. You know what I mean? From stuff. Because it used to say the better prices you would get from traders. And that was never implemented, and it would be broken if you were like, a Giga Chad.
I thought it was implemented.
Maybe it was temporarily and then taken away, but like I know that recently, like Rengar and me were paying the same price for M61. You know what I mean? It's not like Max Charisma gave people a discount from the traders for like some of the ammo recently. Maybe it had been like that in the past.
Did you test or did you look at anything other than M61? The only reason why I say that is because the dollar values are rounded.
Yeah.
So if it says $3 for you, it might be $2.20, and for him it might be $2.70.
Yeah.
If you have to buy 100 rounds to see what the actual price is, because it's never $3 exactly.
Yeah.
Or rarely is, right? So that's just the first thing that came to mind, right? If you look at something like a backpack, one's 29,600 rubles, one might be 28,200, or they might be the same.
Definitely could have been in, but I got max charisma last wipe, and I just feel like I would have been asked a million times why my voodoo was 28,000 when theirs is 35. You know what I mean? Like, I just feel like I would have been asked that question, but that's not at all empirical evidence. I just don't think it was in the game. But now, instead of it saying that it even changes the prices from traders, it does other things that feel better to me, which is like affecting the price of insurance, extracts, operational task replacement. That is a use case for it, but doesn't seem as broken as like meaning I can buy cheaper ammo or armor or whatever. They added the grenade launchers, the M41 and the AK1. Have you noticed from Peacekeeper, now all the M4 handguards come in two pieces, an upper and lower, which is really just kind of cool. So we've had grenade launchers in the game, and there's like the 5 different shells. You know the 40 millimeter gray thing that had no use? You'd find them in grenade boxes. They've been in the game for forever. It's like fuses, the little gray 40 millimeter thing, but it wasn't.
Yes.
That is the AK's GL round. The AK1 does not take the other ones.
Oh, so it's actually munitions.
Yes. Literally today, before I hopped on my stream, Velian got an AK1 and he bought a bunch of GL ammo off the flea market and he couldn't put it in. And then he link searched the AK one, and that came up, and he bought a few of them, put it in, and took it to factory. And that's actual live munitions. Like, we've had that in the game for forever. You know what I mean?
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah. So then they added the 2 GLs, the SR2, which I haven't got to shoot yet, the AUG.
Wait, the SR2, is that the shrimp like ammo?
SMG, yeah.
I used that.
No, is it good?
Once so I got a marked key, the customs marked key.
What?
Yeah. And in customs in like a bag, and I went and did a marked room. So I have a found in raid 9 out of 10 marked key.
Oh my god.
So and in there was the SR2 and the 308 MDR.
Nice.
And I managed to I was gonna say, did I get out or not? I think maybe I died. I don't remember. No, I didn't. I got out because it's found in raid. I just don't know where the SR2 is. Anyway, of course, it was only the one magazine, right? It had like half of a magazine in it, so I ended up shooting half of a mag in like a fight, and then swapped over because I was actually, I think, doing like a pistol run or something.
Yeah.
Trying to get the kill PMCs with pistol quest, and yeah, I don't know. It felt cool.
Yeah,
it's hard
half
to say
a mag. It's hard to tell.
Yeah.
I'm really excited to use it. Have you used the AUG?
I used the AUG for the first time in that last raid I did today.
Okay, I went on like a 14 raid streak with the AUG. I've used the AUG a ton. It's pretty cool. It's got
crazy
some
funky
horizontal recoil. The very
Yeah.
first time I looked at my scout, I was like, bam! And I was like, there was like no vertical recoil. It just went like whoosh. And I was what the hell? And then the second shot, instead of going right, it went up left. And I was like, oh God. Now, like,
yeah, it's a little funky.
Now, anything full auto, like, you can rush into a room and just point fire it, and it's going to be chill. But, like, it's got good ergo. It's full auto. It's not terrible. There's a long barrel for it. We found, so there's a suppressor that can only fit on the long barrel version. There's a suppressor that can fit on the short barrel version. I've used the short barrel suppressor. So it's cool. It's a pretty cool gun. I don't know. I still don't know how modular is it, if I'll be able to put my own foregrip on it, or how some of the different suppressors, like, I don't think it'll necessarily be an endgame meta gun, but I went on a pretty decent run with it. So it was pretty cool. It sounds cool too.
Yeah, I'm one for one.
They added the Glock 19X, which I don't really know.
I got that in like the second raid.
Yeah, is it cool?
It's just
a tan Glock, right?
Slightly smaller tan Glock. Yeah, I've got the Glock 19 IRL. I don't think I got to even shoot it. I think because I did pistol PMC quest mostly on factory.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure I insta died in Glass Hall. Like,
nice.
Jiggle peek. I'm at the raid end screen. Like,
have you seen the RSH 12, the Ash 12 revolver? Have you seen pictures of it on Twitter?
No.
You can put a voodoo on it.
Mother of God, that has to be a bug.
No, it's got the rail. It's like the Deagle in COD, where it's like the super long barrel Deagle, and it's got the 2 rails, and you can put a 30mm ring mount on it. Like, you can put a voodoo. So it's
you can't put that on like a fucking
like an M1A
on an MP7.
Yeah,
you know.
But so the RSH 12, it's a revolver shooting the PS12 or PS12B rounds, and you can put a long range scope on it.
Oh my God. Yeah, I used the 9mm revolver for the first time.
Yeah.
Because I literally just like had no money because I couldn't scav. It was I got in like 9 raids in 11 hours.
Yeah.
I was trying to raid as much as I could on the first wipe day. So I was just like down to no money. Obviously there's no flea market, so I've got a bunch of things that like would be valuable on the flea market but are trash to sell to the traders, but you might need them for later, so I'm just holding on to them. And I couldn't scav, so it got to the point where I was just like down to like 3,000, 4,000 rubles. And one of the clips, I don't know if you saw the clip I put on Twitter.
No.
Oh my God, let me pull it up for you. I was getting really fucking triggered. And this is like a segue into the fact that you can't get PST 9mm or 7.62 by 39 PS ammo. I just think is trash. It's fucking terrible. Like, it's the idea that we had for the top tier stuff, but for the
bottom tier
shit,
stuff, yeah,
it's like you got to walk around with like HP ammo or PSO or whatever. Yeah, I tweeted. It's like, I'm glad everybody else is having a great time. Let me just put this in. I'll put it in both of our chats so y'all can see what I'm talking about. If you go to my Twitter, you can see.
Oh my god!
Like this was my experience trying to get pistol kills.
Yeah,
I hit him 6 times. 6 times.
Jesus.
And I did like no damage to him, and he was fine. Like the raid end screen said 6 bullets, and naturally I spawned in on glass hallway, ran 2 feet,
and
shot
he
a guy
was right
6 times
there.
in the face, shot a guy 6 times in the face, and he didn't die. And I'm like, yeah, I'm so fucking glad that they removed PST 9mm. Like it was bad enough when they removed AP.
Yeah.
From traders, because like that was the only 9mm round that ever felt viable.
Yeah.
And PST feels like dog shit, and now you can't even get PST.
Yeah.
It's just so fucking annoying, dude. I was so triggered from this.
When I did stir up, I had some rough raids too. Yeah. So those are the new guns. If there's any new equipment other than that, I haven't seen it. They messed a lot with the settings for going into an offline raid. I don't know if you've seen. For co-op though, I'm super triggered, bro.
They're so close every time. I'm like, look at all these 6 settings. Cool. And I can't go in because you need to be in a group. I'm like, are you kidding?
Yeah.
I just want to make a thumbnail. I want to do some immersive video, and now I can't do any of these settings.
And you can't even like, what I was going to do was just going to click enable co-op and then go in solo, but you can't. You literally can't go in unless you invite somebody. I'm so pissed. I mean, I'm glad it's in there, but it's like literally so close to perfect.
Just like the last time where they made it so that you can go in with groups co-op, but it's like, but you can't turn scavs off. It's like, really?
Yeah. And now that's perfect, but if you want to do it solo, and it's crazy because you would think that the solo one would be the easier one for them to implement because it's the server I run on my own machine. Like, But then you also saw a lot of the grayed out stuff where it's like the free cam, the time flow. So like I
didn't see that.
Yeah, so like not when you open up that box, there's a bunch of settings we don't have access to yet, but they're there. And one of them is free cam, one of them is like time flow. You can like change how fast. Yeah, so that stuff is going to be cool. Please, Nikita, let us just do it on solo offlines. But those are kind of cool. Okay. The Hideout got the new shooting range, and they showed it. Nobody has it yet, but they showed it off on their Tarkov TV podcast yesterday. Did you see it?
No,
bro.
I heard there's like moving targets.
Yeah,
or something.
So in the Hideout now, the shooting range is like twice as long as it used to be. It goes 2 or 3 times farther down.
I'm in my Hideout right now. I can see.
Yeah.
Holy
okay.
Shit.
I need to send you. I'll find you. I can't find it right now. I'll find it and I'll send it to you on Twitter. But
they better have removed all the bullet holes.
But dude, they have at 3. Okay, at level 2 or 3, because it's like level 2. Like now, like the other Hideout upgrades, you have to upgrade it. It used to just be you would build the shooting range. Dude, at level 3, you walk up and there's a computer. And there's different settings on the computer. And when you initiate it, at like, this is what it was. At like 20 meters, there were a bunch of targets on the ground that would pop up. At like 50 meters, there was a bunch of targets on the ground that would pop up. And on the ceiling, there are targets that move left to right. So it'll just be like boom, boom. They'll start popping up. The ones in the ceiling will start moving. And it's just like boom, 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 boom. And it's like super clean. And like, dude, it's sick. It's sick.
Sounds amazing. Holy shit.
Bro,
Is there
so dope.
Some sort of feedback when you like like a ding, you got a hit?
I don't know. Maybe. I was watching it on silent while we were like raiding, so maybe there was. I'm not sure. But there's like a computer and you can like run drills. I don't know if it like tells you like an accuracy amount or something. I don't really know. They showed it off briefly and it was dope, dude. It was dope.
That sounds amazing. We'll see.
And then have you seen anything with the damaged wall?
I've seen the damaged wall, and I've been told that it's the workout.
Yeah, so everyone, because we got in, everyone's like, "Where's the gym?" You know what I mean? And it was like, and I was like, "I don't know, man. I don't know." Yeah,
gym's that way.
The gym's that way. And I was like, "I don't know, man." And then we started seeing the damaged wall, and then they like took it away, and then now today there's an icon for the damaged wall, and then as of this morning, you're gonna hate this. Maybe not. I don't know. As of this morning,
mop the floor.
Yeah, you start getting debuffs on your Hideout if you don't keep it clean. So you have to put a fleece into the damaged wall, and that's how you mop the floor. I don't know. And I think even that's bugged right now. But what I'm assuming is,
That's fucking brain dead.
what I'm assuming is that eventually there will be like a level 1, 2, and 3, and you will ultimately end up dismantling that wall, and on the other side of it will be the gym. Separate from the mop the floor thing, I think that will be like a hideout upgrade path where you'll get to the gym that way. But the mop the floor thing is a little weird.
Lol.
Yeah. But don't worry about that because we got the shooting range. If there's anything else new with the hideout, then I'm not sure what it is. 5 new stims were added, which are kind of cool. None of them seem really crazy. Version 2.0. So I can only imagine what that is. There was one that specifically said blue.
Oh, I think I have one.
Really? The one called
Oh, no, I think I died.
Blue Blood specifically mentions radiation damage. So that was kind of interesting. The other ones are kind of cool.
Nikita said that there wouldn't be radiation. Actually, I thought he said that they weren't going to do radiation at all. Or he either said that or it wouldn't be until like the DLC or something.
He talked about, the last time he talked about that was when he talked about the permadeath thing, which went crazy. I have no idea. Isn't radiation in the game that we know of. Oh, hideout thing. I forgot. You can favorite a craft.
And there's a search
bar. Thank Christ. I was about to lose my mind. The new TAWS ammo that they added for the TAWS event, the pre-wipe event, was all the way at the bottom of the workbench, which was the longest list. So they and I was losing my mind. Anyways, new stims. Have you seen that they adjusted some of the stims, by the way?
No.
Propital is no longer a painkiller.
Oh, I do know that. I found that out the hard way.
Personally, I like that because it's a 300-second 1 HP per second heal that buffs some of your soft skills. I'm okay with having that as its utility and also bringing a painkiller. Like a morphine is a 300-second painkiller. I'm okay with, like, I feel like the Propital was OP. I feel like people don't want to admit it. I personally am okay with them separating that stuff out. I love the stims. We've talked at length before about how I love the stims. And last wipe, I wasn't complaining that the Propital was OP, but I saw that change. And personally, I was like, I'm kind of okay with them separating those features out and making me decide what I want to use and in what order.
See, so to me, I wouldn't say that the Propital is OP. I would say that, like, there's a threshold where the stims are ever useful to me.
Yeah.
And for me, all of the stims, except for SJ6, Propital, the green stim, and Mule, all of the other ones were always below that threshold.
Yeah.
And then now it's taken the Propital and maybe just put it below the threat. Like, it's not, they didn't make it now reasonable. They made it, now I don't fucking care anymore.
See, that's crazy. I think it's crazy useful.
Dude, I never have fucking time. I never, if I'm in a fight, especially as a solo player, maybe against 3 people, and I peek and I go brr, and I'm fucked up and I'm limping, I don't have time to fix a break and use a painkiller and use a Propital.
See, I'm
dead. I'm just fucking dead.
Yeah, I think you have more time than you think, and I probably used 10,000 stims last wipe. I've used 7 or 8 stims in combat before. Maybe we play differently, but I'm saying objectively, I completely disagree with you on that point. I have plenty.
Well, you also play with people, so you can't tell me that.
No, I've been playing solo a ton towards the end of the wipe. No, dude, it's not a solo thing. I'm just saying. I can't say you. I'm not going to say you're wrong. I'm saying when I play solo, I still take 8 stims in a fight. Not every fight. Sometimes I just fall over dead. But I'll stand my ground on this. That, like, I think a lot of the stims are fun and useful. I agree with you that for the most part, that's where it sat, where a lot of the stims were useless and those stims were useful. But like Zagustin is one you didn't list that you probably never use.
No, I only used it when I had a ton of money and I didn't just sell them.
Yeah, and Zagustin was the middle of the pack, where it's like it's not one of the ones I use most of the time. But when I have a stim pouch for a reason and I bring one, when I find myself in a situation where I got messed up, I have 3 or 4 bleeds and I get behind cover, I go for the Zagustin first before even a heal or a Propital because I can stop the bleeds and mitigate the damage. It's not going to be one I use every raid. It's not going to be one I use no raids like a bunch of the ones are. So to me, this change, brought the Propitol's usefulness down a little bit for sure, but it brought up like a morphine. So now I want both. So like, I don't know. I really, really think that I use so many stims. I love them. And
like, to me,
I'm
just
so
made it,
set on this. I love it.
It just made it like the green stim. Now I'm going to use the green stim and not the yellow one anymore. Because the green stim is so fast.
Yeah.
That is going to keep me alive. Before,
for sure.
The yellow one would keep me alive in the next 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Because it would allow me to get to cover and to start healing so that I can. But now.
Yeah, the Propitol might not be your in combat heal stim. That'll still be your ETG. But the Propitol might be your after combat. When I've killed the guy and I'm safe, I don't want to use an ETG because ETGs are really expensive. But I might either A, run out of heals, or B, not want to heal the 4 HP on every single one of my limbs. So I'll pop the Propitol, then start a CMS, and while I'm CMSing, it's healing all my stuff. Especially since Propitols are cheap. Throughout most of the wipe, Propitols are crazy cheap. You can craft them, you can buy them, you can find them. So it's not that expensive. It's worth keeping in your thing. When you get out of a fight and you're a little hurt everywhere and you have to CMS your leg, why not be healing 1 HP every second while you're doing that? You know what I mean?
I'm not saying that, like,
no, yeah.
I'm not saying that that's not good. I'm just saying, like, to me, it's, I don't know. Like,
no, I get it.
I actually don't care about the 2 HP in my arm being full.
Yeah.
All I care about is my head and my thorax.
For sure.
But to me, like, the Propitol was, I always had one in my gamma.
Yeah.
Because it was like, oh shit.
For sure.
Like, I am going to fucking die.
It was the perfect painkiller, yeah.
Because, again, like, imagine you have a backpack full of shit. You're a solo player, and 3 people roll up on you.
Yeah.
You do not have time, in a lot of situations, I don't care who you are, to drop your bag, get in a fight with one person, dump a 30-round mag, have to reload the mag while you have a broken leg and you're down to 120 HP to then also use a painkiller and then also use a Propitol.
For sure.
You just don't. Because the other 2 people are flanking and pushing you.
Yeah.
You barely have enough time to reload and use a painkiller, let alone now use another stim that is only, like, it doesn't have use in combat to me anymore. It's only a post-combat stim. So all I'm saying is that I just feel like they nerfed that. To me, they nerfed it into the ground where it's no longer useful. I'm going to carry a morphine and a green stim. The green stim will be the one in my gamma.
Yeah, that's just insane to me if you have a stim case. You have 9 open slots for stims. You know what I mean? You won't bring a Propitol for when you get into a fight and you win the fight and you want to hit the Propitol? I'm not finding 9 stims in a customs raid.
I never said that.
Okay.
I don't have a stim case.
Yeah.
I haven't played in 3 months, so I have no idea what I'm going to have in terms of cases and stims.
Yeah.
Right now, most of the things that people will find useful and are good, like some level 5 armors, to me, they have no fucking value to me whatsoever right now, other than the rubles. I'm gonna sell them.
For sure.
So many things that, like, so if I find a bunch of yellow stims and green stims right now being early white, I'm gonna, as soon as I get the flea market, I'm fucking getting the 70,000 rubles for them because they're not gonna increase my survival chances in so many situations.
Yeah.
As much as having, like, a better rifle.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
Completely agree with that.
So it's all moot in the future when I have infinite money to have infinite stims. Then it doesn't matter. Then you have every stim and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But that's not the early wipe experience. It's not the average player experience. And it's not the average fucking Veritas where it doesn't have a million of everything, infinite money, and players to back me up, to cover me, to be like diversions when, you know, like, if they know it's one person and there's 3 people, it's a different fight.
For sure.
Than if there's multiple people, because if you get pushed, well, now your 2 boys are going to kind of push up and hold the angle.
For sure.
And those other guys might not push. Whereas if they know there's only one of you and they fucked you up, the other 2 are just going to push you. And you know, so now it's a 1v3 rather than a 1v1v1v1v1 split up.
Yeah.
It's just totally different situations. I think the vast majority of the time. And yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm just disappointed because the Propitol was the one, it was the best stim in my opinion. And now I'm only going to use it when I have infinite resources.
Do you think the Propitol, like in that same exact situation where you're hurt, in the other last wipe when you hit the Propitol, how many times out of 10 do you think when the 2 boys realized it was a solo and pushed you and you were hurt, how many times do you think the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 HP that you got from that Propital, like it's like that
No,
fight?
that's not that. It's not that.
Well, that's what I'm asking. The fight basically
No.
happens the same if you use a morphine there, right?
No, no. Because a lot of times that initial thing is you get fucked up by the first guy.
Yeah.
Maybe you kill him, maybe not. If you kill him, the other two guys are gonna push even more.
Yeah.
That's the reaction. If you don't, then the three of them kind of might regroup and might wait a little bit.
Yeah.
But so if you happen to kill the first guy, but you get fucked up, what happens is my leg is blacked and I'm limping and I'm probably overweight and have no stamina or whatever, right? So that allows me to get to cover, to then open up my menu, to wait a little bit, to then look and assess. I can maybe drag my Salua onto my chest, onto my head, and then get back in the fight. It made me survive that much longer. Whereas before, now I need to go and then evaluate, okay, what's my health? Like that extra 15 seconds of healing could potentially be useful. But it was mostly useful for the painkiller effect and then the added benefit of the healing. Yeah. So now you've taken away the primary use case for me. It was basically a painkiller that gave me some long-term survivability, whereas now it's some long-term survivability, which...
No, I know, but that's what I'm saying. If you
irrelevant.
swap out a Propital with a morphine, now you get the greater effect of the Propital, just not the long-term survivability. I see. I see what you're saying.
So that's why I'm saying I'm just not going to use Propitals.
Yeah, no, I understand.
Until I have infinite everything and I have all of the stims and I can afford to take 7 stims every raid in the middle of a fight, because I also have infinite resources to fix my energy and my hydration.
And I definitely agree with that.
These things now completely fucking destroy.
I have a bunch of Propitals and I haven't been bringing them, because I don't have a stim case and I don't want to take up space in my gamma, and I could just sell them for money. I still like it. That's most of like the big things. Hold on, let me see. FSR 2.1. I haven't really messed with that. Hey, don't worry. On the list of fixes, on the long list of fixes, the very first one is fixed several memory leaks. So.
Oh yeah, and also they fixed the whole like sliding across surfaces.
Oh yeah.
I literally, like my third raid yesterday, I Tony Hawked for 3 minutes on the mountaintop on woods off the cliff. Died. After killing two PMCs, after having a bunch of quest items, after, all this stuff, it was trying to jump up on the rock. You jump off the rock and it's
dude, I swear they put things in the list of fixes that it was like a card that nobody got to, and they were like, let's just say we fixed it.
I was so fucking mad at that, dude. That was maybe the first time ever I've died from just falling off of something.
Oh yeah.
Like from a high ledge. Not like, there are times where I fell from like 6 feet and died because I had like 1 HP in my chest.
Black legs and stuff.
But this was just fully healed, fully totally fine. Yeah. I did kill Sturman actually, I think no, it wasn't that raid, because I survived that raid, but I killed Sturman with like a 400-meter shot.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was like
with using what?
A Mosin.
Jeez.
With the Mosin
you
scope.
Have the PU scope?
Yep.
Jeez.
Sniped him, and he was fighting another PMC, and I was up on like Sniper Rock somewhere, and I just ended up being like, plink, hit him like 3 times, I think, and he was dead. And then later on, because I went over to go, see if I'm like, I think that was Sturman.
Yeah.
And there was a scav with like, I don't even know how to describe it. First of all, he had a Christmas hat, so I'm like, I didn't realize that the whole Santa was still, and I'm like, I'm not again.
Me either, yeah.
So I'm like, Chad, is this Santa? Like, who is? And I'm VoIPing. I'm like, are you a player scav or are you Santa? Because he like was like would look at me and then like aim, and then look at me and walk towards me and like, and then he like walked up, went over to the thing. The whole time he was aiming at me, looking at me, and I'm like VoIPing, aiming, like, what the fuck is going on?
Yeah.
And people were like, no, it's not Santa, because I think Santa has a bag, like a big
big red bag. Yeah.
It wasn't, dude. It was Sturman Guard. He didn't aggro me. He was talking to me and aiming at me, but he never. And I killed him. That's gotta
be a bug.
I shotgunned him to the fucking face, and I took all his shit. I was like, what
That's
the fuck?
Weird. You know what, actually, that kind of makes sense because I ran into Sturman once and I killed him, and we got weirdly close before I was pushed up super far, and Velian was like, that's Sturman, by the way. And I was like, no shot. And he was like, yeah. And he like sniped one, and then they aggroed us. And I was like, that's super weird. And Sturman ran at me, and I was like, yo, I have one. I just ran into him and barrel stuffed his SVD. His SVD was right here by my face. He was going, gung, 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 gung. And I was just like, I had a shorter gun, so I just like sprayed him down. And I got his key, and which you need for the quest, but chat was like, use the key, use the key, use the key. So I used the key, bro. The first 2 items, flash drive. I was like, let's go! And I got the flash drives, and I got out with them, and I was like, hell yeah.
I just posted the clip of my of them. This is the confirmation that they fixed the
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they totally fixed it.
No, I bet that was a really good. Man, I get up there all the time too. That's actually scary. They might be worse there now.
Yeah, it's just trash. It's terrible.
But
yeah, I don't know what the deal was with the boss. He didn't aggro me. It was probably bugged. His weapon wasn't malfunctioned, or at least, yeah. I mean, I don't know if it had to do with that. I don't know what the deal was, but it was a really weird interaction.
Yeah. That being said, some of the list of changes here are good. One of them being added weapon malfunctions for bots. So I haven't seen that happen yet, but that's very much so needed because all of their guns are at 11 durability. I was playing with, I don't remember if it was Seal or Velian yesterday. One of them killed a scav, walked up to it, picked up the Mosin, the Found and Rain Mosin, the only weapon the scav had, and it was 100 durability. So I think there's a chance that I think their range of weapons is now wider.
You said it was the only weapon they had?
It was the only weapon the scav had on them. Mosin, few rounds.
And it wasn't a player scav?
Mm-mm.
Huh,
so
okay.
I think it might be rare, but it seems like they can spawn with 100 durability weapons. I haven't seen them jam, but apparently they can.
Yeah, that's going to be one of those like I bet you it's just a straight up No Man's Sky. Like it's multiplayer, but the chances of you finding someone is so unlikely that the chance of weapon malfunction it's
there. You can't say it's not there.
You've never seen it doesn't mean not there.
Yeah. Okay. The rebalancing of the quests, that was the thing we talked about, exactly as I suspected. People thought that like every single quest they ever found was going to be new and improved and better. And I was like, I think it's going to be super, super sparse changes. And here we are, almost all.
Which part was that you said?
It was they said rebalance the. Well, it was when Nikita talked in a podcast that they were going to redo some of the quests, and then the community went away with it, and they were like, "We're never like all the old quests are dead. New quests with this," and I was like, "I don't think so."
I've already done the pocket watch.
I know. I was like, I think the changes are going to be minimal, and they are absolutely minimal. So some of the changes that I've seen are, the Tarkov shooter part 2, where you need to use a bolt action rifle and hit something from 40 meters away or more, 3 leg shots and 2 headshots. That is now not just scavs, that's anyone. So if you snipe a PMC, it counts. So like little stuff like that. A few quests that used to be on a specific map now are you can do this any map. Like very little stuff so far. I suspect that more of the mid game, we're actually going to talk about this after the next thing I want to talk about, that I suspect the mid game is what they were going after with this patch more so than the early game. Anyways, so some of the stuff, they removed some of the stuff from the traders and stuff like that and moved some of it. Some of the hideout crafts are now locked behind quests. So you might have Workbench 3, but you have to complete this quest to get that craft unlocked. So some of that stuff, there's already I've already have a few streets tasks I haven't been to. I found a sausage in game and I ate it. And then after that raid, I turned in a quest and I got a quest that it's like to turn in a sausage. And I was like, damn it.
God damn.
Yeah. But I already have some streets quests and stuff like that. So the quests, not overwhelmingly different as of now. There was some new gunsmiths, like Gunsmith 4, some people are getting to, has changed a lot. I don't know if they've added to the Gunsmith chain. I don't know if they've just changed them. Gunsmith 1, 2, and 3, I think are the same, but 4, people are posting a bunch of screenshots that Gunsmith 4 has changed quite a bit.
Okay.
So I think more of the mid-game quests will be different than early game quests. I still don't think they will all be different. I don't think it'll be a completely different mid-game. I just think as we get through, we'll find more significant changes around the mid-game than the early game. So there was one glaring thing missing from these patch notes that I was interested in on Wipe Day, and it was Lightkeeper. There's nothing about him. Nothing.
I haven't even gone to Lighthouse once yet.
I was going to ask, have you seen anything? No?
Haven't gone to Lighthouse. I haven't gone to Shoreline.
The entire bridge to the Lighthouse is filled with claymores. And you can see them, and they blow up. And Deadly spent like 2 hours, and he found a path through where you can crawl through.
Speedrun strats.
And you could he would walk up, and he would figure out which claymores were facing which direction, which ones he would be fine because he was behind them. He would walk up and then back up, and they would blow up, and he would only get hurt a little bit, and he would heal up because you can't hit like 2 or else you're dead. But you can heal up, and he found his way he got it all the way onto the thing. You can't shoot him. You have to just walk into him. And he got on, and then and then they removed the claymores from outside the lighthouse. You know how it used to be you'd walk up to the thing and you just blow up before you get to the lighthouse. They removed them there. Yeah. And he got in the lighthouse, and he got all the way to the top. And there's a new door. It's not a key card. It's a keypad. And he walked up to it, and it just says, open the door. And he clicked it, and it says, you do not have access. So he couldn't get access, but he got there. And then Logical Solutions tweeted, and he was like, I'm not going to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil what you have to do, but Lightkeeper's in the game, and he's quest locked, and it's going to be hard to get to him. There's a lot of quests. I don't really know what that means, but he's in the game, confirmed. And then it's up to you to decide if you want to go, but there have been some things on Reddit being posted, like some cutscenes and stuff like that. That are being posted on Reddit that I'm assuming are being data mined, that if you'd like to go spoil for yourself, you can or not. But they really did leave that as a surprise. And so he's in the game. I don't know how to get to him. I don't know what quests. I don't know how deep in the quest line. I don't know how many quests. I don't know what he sells. I don't think anybody has gotten that far in the game yet. But he is in the game. Also, Nice Guy tweeted out, somebody killed Zerachi. And Zerachi had a rig. He had a
bottle of Sriracha.
He had He had a new face mask. He had AXMC with a Reap IR on it, and he had an MP7, suppressed MP7 as his secondary. And the dude killed him and got out with all his stuff. And then also he had
both at 10% durability.
I actually don't know. I don't know. He also had a minion that was a cultist. So it's been confirmed that Zerachi is
a little yellow, like one-eyed.
Yeah.
One of those little minions.
Yeah.
Little yellow Kerbal just running around.
Yep. So apparently it's been confirmed that he is a cultist boss, and that he can have cultists as his little yellow one-eyed minions.
Dude, if you're running around at nighttime and you hear banana, you're run the other way. Run the other way, dude, because
Why was that so good? Oh my god.
You know what? The best part, I've never seen minions.
What?
I don't even know what minions sound like. Don't know what they look like. That was just kind of a guess.
Banana. Oh my god. That would be the best Easter egg of all time. It's just giant minions.
As soon as you said he has a minion, I was like, plushie? Like, what do you mean? Like, am I...
Jesus Christ. So he's got his little minion. So yeah, I think that's just about everything. But that's why I was saying it feels like they're going after the mid game more so with this patch. The hideout changes that are really significant are what we think is going to be the gym and the destructible wall, which is going to take a while to get to. The shooting range is going to take a while to get to. It's going to take a while to get to the Lightkeeper and even see what that whole mechanic is like. And my guess, not my assumption, but my guess is that as we progress through the traders, we're actually going to see some of the things we talked about. I think we might see some of the high-end ammos removed from the traders. It's just like all these little change. Now it's just a guess. I have no evidence to back that up, but it just seems like they're really going after like the level 20 to 40 area, like those quests, those things at around that level of hideout is when you're going to access the new stuff. So that's just like JesseKazam's guesstimation for the wipe, but it seems like they're going to try and pull out the mid game more than the early game, which kind of I'm okay with. I want to be able to have some stuff and not feel like every death is 30% of my stash, but I don't want to get to a bajillion rubles super quickly. So I don't know. We'll see. I know that I'm not a great judge because I play more than 99% of the players, but it's just a guess. We'll see. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, one of the things that I'm sure I'll get shit for, but that has just been like annoying. Are the like just the prices, not even just the availability of things like the basic fucking ammo that you want. But like just it's so annoying the prices of like water and shit where it's like, why is water is literally half of a rifle. Like give
Seriously.
me a fucking break
or twice as expensive as a double barrel.
Yeah, and I don't want to have to constantly be collecting the random things to trade for like, H2O2 or, to have to always be picking up fucking 2 toothpaste so that I can get some humpback. I hate the fact that the energy and hydration systems are complete and utter dog shit, and they're made 100 times worse by the price and availability of outside of raids of like food and water. Like it should be like 300 fucking rubles. If you're gonna make it so that I have to have like 3 random food and drink items every raid, otherwise I'm constantly gonna be dying or like whatever, it's just so annoying.
Yeah. No, I agree. It's like I get that you want to push us towards get your food and water in raid and extract with it. I totally get that, but at the same time, it doesn't make sense that a water bottle is twice. You can buy 2 double barrel shotguns for the price of a water bottle. You know what I mean? Like there should be some. We've talked about the dark and darker method of like it was really refreshing to have everything I need to go into a raid, even if it all sucked. It was really nice. Pestily made a whole video about that where he was like, after playing that game, it like completely changed. So like a water bottle and like some crackers that's always purchasable, never goes out of stock, and is appropriately priced. Like that would just be awesome. You know what I mean? Like, yeah.
And the fact that like a bunch of the food completely tanks your water too.
Yeah.
So it's like
this ping pong of having to have both.
It's just such an annoying thing in the early part of the game. And I'm sure it's probably a lot more annoying for people who are casual and or like worse at the game than me. Hard to believe, I know. But like every raid that is a good raid for me where I survive a fight and I have some loot, it takes me 3 hours to get to the extract because I'm slow walking because I'm overweight. And then also I'm dying because it took me so long. Like I had to take painkillers and I survived the fight, but I don't have access to good meds in the beginning. I don't have access to infinite food and water. Like you need like 3 food and drink if you have a long successful raid and you take multiple painkillers to be able to then have enough time to slow walk out of a raid. And that's the only way that you can possibly make money is by walking out with a backpack full of stuff.
I completely agree.
And I can't do that.
I think the early game, like for years and years and years and years, everyone's like the early game's the best, the early game's the best, the early game's the best. I actually like the mid game more. And it's exactly, I think there's a little bit of an identity crisis going on in the early game where everybody was like, the end game, the meta was so broken that they made that their North Star. They were like, this is the movement speed we want you to have at the end. And then they just drew a line to the beginning. And it feels like nobody played in the beginning. And because it feels like this little identity crisis where like, I'm in the raid. What am I doing? What does the game want me to do? Get stuff, kill stuff, get stuff. If I kill a scav and pick up his Mosin, his backpack, because I'm like, ooh, I have another backpack, and his helmet, I'm overweight. I haven't done my quest. I haven't found food. I haven't found trinkets. I'm already overweight, and I'm already in these. And so like, it feels like the game doesn't want me to do what the game wants me to do. You know what I mean? And then we've talked about before about how the CMS was one of the single greatest additions to the game because it meant a raid could last longer. But then the weight system, now it feels like as soon as I do anything, I need to go because like this raid is going to be really bad. So I do like the theoretical concept of like, ooh, this is heavy. Do I want this car battery or do I not? Do I this or do I not? But it feels like we drew that line from the end and not the beginning. And I get that because at a certain time, the end game was too crazy. But I definitely agree that just some of it feels like the early game. You're punished for playing the way the game wants you to play, and you're rewarded for you're rewarded for hatchet running with guns. Go in with a gun, nothing else, kill a scav, take his stuff. Now you're overweight, get out. That's what old hatchet runs used to be. And we used to be so objective and binary. Everybody thought hatchet runners were bad because they weren't risking anything. They weren't doing anything. But now in a weird way, the game is forcing you back to that like ethos. You're not going in with a hatchet, but you're going in with a kit. You're doing one single thing and you're leaving because you're like, I'm overweight or I have this quest or whatever. And it kind of, it's losing that, like, we'll stay in the raid and experience the raid, you know?
Yeah, at least, like, back in the day, I used to be able to kill somebody, drop my armor, because it was insured, take one person's armor, wear it, take the second person's armor, and put it in my backpack, and then grab one gun and another gun. Now, the insurance prices, like, it's been long enough that I'm sure a lot of people don't even know or have forgotten how much more expensive insurance is.
Yeah.
So now, if you happen to have armor, you're paying like 80% of the value of the armor to maybe get it back.
Yeah.
And you have to drop it. If you want to make any money before the flea market and before crafting, then you basically have to drop the shit that you have to have insured just so that you can pick up the armor.
Yeah.
And then even then, if you happen to have like a level 4 rig in your bag with some stuff inside of it, you're slow walking, like, let alone if you have a battery or anything remotely heavy, like you're slow walking everywhere. And people in chat have said a few different things, like they disagree. Like one of the things is it slows the progression, and that's a good thing. Well, no, they should slow the progression by slowing the progression, not by making it so that it takes me 40 minutes to walk a third of the map, because it's just fucking brain dead. Make it so that there's more XP between levels.
Yeah,
that's infinitely better.
Yeah, if every single raid you had a 33% to just get negative 5,000 XP, that would slow the progression. But that's objectively a terrible change to the game. If you want to slow the progression, slow the progression. Yep, you're absolutely right.
Don't slow the progression by slowing the physical movement of my character.
Yeah. Or doing anything that just feels like intrinsically is against the spirit of the game. The spirit of the game is go in and get stuff. Like, stuff is the spirit. People are like, why do you hoard? Because stuff is why we play this game. You know what I mean? Like, if you like to PvP better than that, that's fine. Like, I'm not saying PvP is bad, but like, look at the marketing. Look at the trailers. Read the website. Shooter. It's a looter shooter. It's about loot. You know what I mean? So stuff. So to be like, stuff is why we play the game. And now you can carry 10% of the stuff. It's like, it slows it down, but it just doesn't feel good. You know what I mean? Like, there are plenty. Dark and Darker is very hardcore. Very hardcore. That game is hard, but there isn't even a weight limit. You just carry. You just have a stash size. You can carry as much as you can fit in your character. You just carry that and leave. So it's like, I completely agree with the spirit of what you're saying. Completely, by the way.
Yeah, like they just made it so that in the rare cases where you get a fucking W, it's the most painful, annoying bullshit.
Yeah.
Like, give me the W. Yeah. Let me take the shit that I fucking earned by winning the 1v3 and by spending 20 minutes and searching everywhere and looting and finding the good stuff, and don't make it so that I have to do my taxes to leave the raid.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, and even what you said, as simple as that is, let me run around with a bag full of stuff. Like, let me do that and double the amount of XP I need for each level. I like, if the gameplay is fun, I'll want to play the game more so you can make the levels farther apart, because I'll have fun playing the game. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. People are so many people, and it's not just in this case. It's like this with everything. People are like 1 or 2 or 3 layers of abstraction removed from the goal.
Yes.
Slowing the progression is not necessarily a good thing either, Why do we want to slow progression? Well,
Yes.
because if you progress too fast, then
Yeah.
there's nothing to do. So instead, the issue is not progression is too fast, therefore slow your character down and make it too cumbersome to leave a raid with stuff.
Yeah.
It's make it so that there's stuff to do throughout an entire,
Yeah.
level 1 to level 99, throughout an entire wipe. There's always stuff to do. It's not about progression. It's not about.
That's such a good point. Symptom of the symptom of the symptom of the problem. And people don't even realize. Yeah. Well, slow the progression. Why is that good? Is it good because you've heard the term slow the progression a lot? Or do you know why we need to slow the progression? Because if we fix this thing, we don't need to slow the progression. Like, yeah, no, that's actually a good point. And obviously, it's not we want to swing the pendulum all the way the other way. I don't want to be able to bring in a raid bag, fill it with 18 car batteries at level 1 and full sprint with it. I'm just saying, yeah, which is a frustrating thing in and of itself, where it's like as soon as we feel like we've made a good point, people are like, whoa, what do you want? You want me to just be able to fit an entire EOD stash in your backpack at level 1? It's like, shut up.
Let me
Nobody said that. Yeah.
Let me strawman everything you said to
you
the
can hear the
extreme.
goalpost moving if you listen. BSG just posted right now a hot fix to the game with a bunch of fixes. None of them are anything we've really talked about where it's like we fixed audio or anything, but a lot of like fixed several technical fixes and optimizations, a lot of bugs, a lot of stuff. So I guess that's something like literally just now they tweeted about it. So
interesting. Okay. All right.
Oh, and then the other thing, the last thing is on the podcast that they did Tarkov TV Live, where it was just like the end of the year, thank the staff thing. They showed a bunch of screenshots of the arena. Go to Twitter, go to Tarkov Arena, that Twitter account. And they showed off some screenshots in the arena. There's a lot of thoughts here, and I think we'll save that for another podcast. Obviously, I'm super excited. They tweeted kind of like the UI. There's ranked and unranked. Right now, the two modes they have working are like a tournament style, where you can pick like 1v1, 2v2, 3v3, and then there's like a classic team deathmatch. They showed a little bit about like the
rank fighter C+.
Yeah, when you as you rank, you're gonna get like currency, and you can spend that currency. They showed off like a spectator mode where you can actually like stand over and spectate matches, and then there's like a scoreboard where like as the game plays, like you'll be able to like reference the scoreboard. Some really, really cool stuff. Some concerning stuff, but some really, really cool stuff as well. Very excited for the arena. They didn't give a date. They didn't give a when. They didn't give anything, but they showed some screenshots. Oh yeah, 3 maps. They showed that there's gonna be 3 maps. It's cool. Check it out.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to it. There's one thing worth mentioning too, because I had this discussion yesterday with chat, and somebody had mentioned like that they were excited for Arena because they think that it would allow the devs to focus on fixing a lot of the issues. And actually, my and I hate to say it, but my gut reaction was the opposite. Like, there's going to be, with Arena being so new, there's going to be 8 million Arena-specific bugs that's what they're going to spend their time focusing on, potentially. It was basically like, you can look at it both ways. What they're doing is maybe making it so that now they have 100 times more shit to fix. It's not like they're going to use this purely to fix the sound of the netcode.
At bare minimum, I think that Tarkov won't get faster at all. If anything, it could get slower. I agree with that. They made a whole big deal about how they brought in a whole new team, so any of those problems could be isolated over there. But it's not like when Arena releases, they have more devs working on Tarkov, right? Like I think what people conflate there is hopefully maybe they will be able to dive farther deeper into the spirit of Tarkov and less meta weapons and less meta that, because most of the people that are just interested in engaging in PvP will be over there. And even that, I don't even know if that's true or not. But yeah, I don't think development of Escape from Tarkov will go quicker when Arena's there, or they will have these people to fix these problems. I'm very excited for the Arena, and I'm glad they're doing it this way by bringing in another team and not taking people away. But yeah, I definitely don't think that it's going to make Tarkov faster. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Also, a random side note. I saw there was a tweet from, let me see. When was it? I'm scrolling. I'm delaying. I'm stalling. I'm scrolling. Fuck me.
More minion voices.
Yeah. Okay, so it was Tobias. So
Okay.
Tobias, what exactly was he before? Was he like a community manager at BSG for a while, or what was?
I
Trying to remember
believe
exactly.
so. I don't remember exactly what his official capacity was, but I think he was one of the community managers, one of the senior community managers.
Okay.
But yeah,
Yes.
most people know Tobias. Yeah.
No, but has since left, and he's
Yes.
actually working over at the Blood Hunt.
Oh yeah. Yep.
So, but anyway, so he tweeted after the wipe. I believe some good things have been done to Tarkov netcode. My guess is that BSG at least partially moved to a server-side authoritative system. My reasoning is that I'm seeing side effects of such a system in the player positioning data, basically the like rubber banding.
Okay.
And it was like, I just responded with, Nikita said it was server authoritative before, though. Like,
yeah.
I just, now he didn't end up responding to me, but it was like, but wait, wasn't BSG basically defending for so long that it was server authoritative, despite all of the evidence and all of the shit and everything like that? And it's funny, like a bunch of people sent me messages or responded to that tweet being like, yeah, but there was evidence to the contrary that it was server authoritative. I'm like, you're talking to the guy that did the video on the netcode. Like, what the, like,
yeah.
What do you mean? Other than Battle Nonsense, who did it 4 years ago and said that the netcode was so bad that he doesn't even want to do another test again.
Yeah.
He literally was like, it's so fucked that it's not even worth, I don't even want to go down that rabbit hole again. He said that like 2 years ago.
Yeah.
Like the last major netcode analysis was done by me. And I said in that video that I thought that it seemed to me to be client authoritative because,
yeah,
for such and such and such. But when I talked to Nikita, he said it is server authoritative.
Yeah.
And then I was able to square the circle to basically say, here's a universe in which he's not lying to me, but here's how I can interpret what he's saying in a way that isn't incorrect, which is you can be server authoritative and have the server say, okay, to everything the clients say.
Yeah.
If the authority is a beta cuck
facade
to the fucking this whole time when Nikita's been talking about it's beta, he means like it's a beta.
It's a beta. It's a beta male.
It's a low T beta cuck that the clients are sitting there banging the server's wife. That's basically how you should interpret it.
Hell yeah, dude.
But then also at the same time too, like I don't know how much he knew about the system, how like
for sure.
It was just funny seeing someone who was so close to everything, defending everything for so long, all of a sudden being like, "Oh, this is great," and that it looks like they finally did this thing that we said we did 3 years ago. And I was like, "Well, wait a minute."
I did not notice that. Yeah, I didn't see that. That's interesting. Oy. Well, I think that's just about everything. That is the JesseKazam Veritas Pogcast, the good, the bad, the ugly with the new patch. I'm still having a blast. I'm still excited one of the things I love is that we're a few days in and there's so many things I still don't know that I'm excited to learn. So obviously the hope is that with the big things like the sound and some of the network and some of the frames and some of the stuff, the hope is that even daily or weekly or monthly we start to get updates on this and things get better. I'm excited to uncover some of the things that we haven't yet seen. We might see streets, or we might see arena, some more arena stuff in the next few months. So yeah, that's the patch. We'll see. I still think there's a lot to do and to talk about and stuff like that coming in the future that we'll figure out. So I'm excited for the next few podcasts, but that's kind of the early stuff. So yeah, we did a podcast on a weird day because we were catching up with the wife stuff. We had been talking in DMs about like maybe next week doing something like we like do some duos and do some podcasting while we're playing. If you'd be interested in that,
we can talk about the things. Normally I'm molding a chat about the things that I'm seeing or we're experiencing, but like it'll be interesting. I don't know how the hell we'll do like the audio version. It'll be like,
or even the YouTube whose perspective, but Maybe we can do like an abbreviated interview style, like 45 minutes, and then we hop into some duos and we like extend it or something like that. So there's like a little bit of the normal stuff if there's any like news, and then we can like do, I don't know, we'll talk about it, but there were some cool ideas. The game's super fresh, so it'd be cool to like get in it and do some Jesse Veritas duos and stuff like that. So So thank you guys for hanging. I'll try to edit this and get it up as soon as possible. We're running into the weekend, so it's probably still going to be Monday. But yeah, thank you guys for hanging, and we'll definitely see y'all on the next one.
Peace.